Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to another very exciting episode of Citizen Bob. It's been a week, 2 weeks since I made a video last. Mainly because I've been doing nothing but mining for the last 3 weeks. And nobody wants to watch 20 videos of me doing the same thing. So I've kind of just put my head down, got on with it. And over the space of about 2.5 weeks, as we can see, I have 21,419,164 AUEC. Nice. So I'm going to switch it up a bit today. I found a little cargo run which will, it won't make you massive money, but it's a nice little change. So we're currently at Crew L4, Shallow Field Station. And the plan is to come up to the admin office in the Galleria, come to the commodity terminals, and we're looking for construction material. So I want to put it there. Let's see how many we can buy here. Only 15. It's going to cost us 880k. I want 24 of them, so I'm going to buy those. And I need to wait now for that to refresh, because I want to buy, as I said, 24. So I'm going to cut the video here. It should only take about 10 minutes, maybe even less. I don't know when it updated last. But I'm going to cut the video here, come back to you when it's restocked, and then we can buy the relevant 24 boxes. And then we'll get it loaded onto the raft, is what I'm using today, the Argo Raft. And then we're going to take it to Arral One to sell it. So both stations, so loading and unloading is nice and safe because it's inside a hangar, so you're not going to get pirated. And it's just a nice casual way to make a few extra credits. It's not an overly excessive jump from one station to another. It's at 22 something George Michaels. Takes a minute and a bit, to bounce between the two. And what I've generally found is that if nobody else is doing what I'm doing here, then by the time I go to Argo One, get it all sold and come back, then this is all restocked. Hasn't yet. Right, so there we are. I'll cut the video here and I'll come back to you in just a moment. Okay, so we are back now. That in my time took about 3 minutes. So let's go back in here. We want the 8s and we want 9 of them, which we will buy. Blah blah blah. So that's going to total 192 SCU, which is the maximum cargo capacity. But it's not technically the maximum cargo capacity, because what we could do is grab a 2 SCU as well, just one of them. Buy that, because there's a little sneaky little space on the raft where you can stick an extra 2 SCU box. So we need to go back down to the hangar now and get that loaded on, which doesn't take long at all, so I'm not going to bother cutting it out, because they're such large boxes. There's only 24 of them, and it doesn't take long at all. And then we'll get those taken over to Arral One, and we'll get them sold. I was doing a little bit of cargo running using the UEX website, and I found a nice little run. Well, I thought it was nice, which was picking up bioplastics from Terra Mills or selling and taking it over to Bloom in Pyro. And I did it 3 or 4 times with no issue. And then on the last time, as I was loading the cargo off the ship in Bloom, I got pirated. And I decided I didn't want to waste that kind of money on cargo, so I decided to go the safe route instead. So we come to the elevator, get it dropped. Put those in, bring those up. These freight elevators have been a bit temperamental. They gotta have it a gobbling up your stuff, so I found my most successful way of doing it is to make sure you stay in this screen until it says complete, and then it shows the cargo in the elevator. And there we are. So I get my tractor beam out. I'll start chucking this on. Boom. While I'm doing this, I hope you have all been well. I hope you've enjoyed the previous videos. I'm not sticking to any sort of schedule when it comes to making the videos. I just make them as and when I get the urge to make one. So you might get 4 or 5 videos in 2 days, and then it might be like 2 weeks before I make another one. Depends what I'm doing and how I'm feeling, you know. As I said, I'm not looking for the fame and the fortune and all this nonsense. I just like making videos. So that's what I've been doing. If you want to like and subscribe, it would be much appreciated, but not essential. If you feel you gain some value from the video, then please do. But, you know, like I said, all optional. I'm not fussed either way, to be fair. I just like making videos. Nearly there. I'm only going to do the one trip, just to sort of demonstrate the potential earnings. I didn't pay any attention to how much I paid for any of this stuff, but what I will do is we'll compare the difference between our starting figure to our end figure and see what we come up with. Let's put that there, let's put that where it's supposed to be. Bang! Nice. I was getting a bit greedy earlier. I was doing this. I took it over to Argo One, put it in a freight elevator and dropped it. And I didn't sell it straight away. I came back and did another run. In fact, I did another 2 runs. So I ended up with a rather excessive amount of construction material. Excuse me. At the sell point. And I had so much that it wouldn't buy it all in one go, so I had to come back later on. So I'm just going to do 1 raft at a time now. I'm not going to get greedy. Let's put that away because it interferes with the elevator terminal. And then we'll get this last 2 SCU box and we'll stick that in the secret coach. Stick him over, bring him up. Ooh, apologies. Quick message from the school. Okay, so we'll get this one. This has to go over here. What I'm going to do is just rotate it so it's that way. And then we're going to put it in there, in that doorway there. But we have to do it from inside, because I can't open that door from the outside. So there'll be a total of 194 SCU in a ship with 192 on the cargo grid. I wish these doors were a bit quicker. So we'll open that. Oh. Let me get out. Now I can bring it in. And then shut the door. There's an extra 2 SU in there. Lovely jubbly. So let's open the doors first because they take a little while to get going. Off the ground. Landing gear up. And I've just turned completely the wrong way. Okay. And we're off. So I'll get outside here now and then I'll set the route. So where are we going? Argo One. Wide forest. Select the route. Did that select? I don't know. Did it? No, it didn't. Okay. Let's get a bit further away from the station. And try again. Aral One. Route. Why won't you route? Are we on a bugged server or something? I don't know. Let's try something a little different. Just zip away from the space station slightly. Quantum travel disengaged. So, oops. L1, wide forest station, route. There we go. So 24 George Michaels from where we are. I don't know what GM stands for. Is it like gigameter? I don't know. But George Michaels sounds better, so that's what we're going to stick with. And when it goes to MM, I call them Mini Michaels. So like I said, I'm not going to bother cutting this travel time out because it doesn't take that long. Minute and a bit. And when we get to the other side and we're offloading into the freight elevator, the only slight issue is because we've got that extra 2 SCU, once we put the 24 8 SCU boxes in the elevator, that elevator's full, so we've got to drop it down and then bring it back up just to stick that 2 SCU box in. So it's not essential, you don't have to buy the extra 2. I just like making life awkward for myself by getting boxes in small holes. 12 George Michaels to go. Now normally when I land at this station, the first thing I'll do is refuel. But I'm not going to do that this time, because I want you to see the clear-cut profit of the buying and selling without the fuel deductions and all that nonsense. I'll just refuel it before I take off next time. There we go. So what I like to do is probably dangerous. Is I go max speed in nav mode. Just aim slightly away from the station, just because I don't want to go ploughing into it. So now I'll get there a bit quicker. And then I'll cut the quantum drive just as we approach. Okay, that'll do for that. And then the blood rushes to my head because we stopped so suddenly. And then we'll put a request in for the doors. Oh, is that this one, is it? I think it is, you know. Yeah. So, landing gear down. Now what I like to do when I get in the hangars is, I don't know why, just I'm weird. I touch down first. That triggers the doors behind me to... Shut up, phone! Excuse me. That triggers the doors behind me to close. And then I'll take off again. And there's 2 freight elevators in this hangar, and I like to use the one closest to the ASOP terminals. Just because it's less of a distance for me to then gallop to the terminal. Because the armour I'm wearing is the Novatech armour for the cold environments of sailing, and it's bloody heavy. Right, so we'll drop that there. First thing I'm going to do is dump out that 2 SCU box from the airlock. So I'm going to have to move it. I did this earlier as well. Roll it. That's me access. No, not that one. Ah! I think I'm stuck now, am I? Nope, there we go. And then... Oh! Can be a bit fiddly getting it out. There we go. He's out. I can jump out here as well. Whee! So I'll just drop that there a minute. And then we start putting these in the elevator. And just like the elevator they came up in, they'll stack 2 high, 4 wide, and I think it's 3 deep. And that'll be the elevator full then. Much easier bumping these larger boxes around than trying to mess around with bloody 2 SCU boxes. It does take quite a while to manually load this thing if you're using 1 and 2 SCU boxes. Gets a little bit more manageable with the 4 SCU boxes, but these 8s are much preferred. I'm saving up for a new ship. I want to buy the M2, which is the military version of the C2. Not quite as much cargo space, but it's still got over 500, which is ample for me as a solo player. And when they get around to fixing the Hull C, I might buy one of them. Because with a Hull C, you can make about 700k in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Or if you want to cheat, I consider it cheating. Once you've dropped off your load and sold it, you can backspace, kill yourself, and then recall the ship when you're back where you were, which cuts a few minutes off. Not done it myself, but when you're watching the chat room, that's what people are doing. This is how people got millions and millions to buy a whole sea, which is not overly expensive actually. Less than 15 mil, I think. Okay, so that's them in. Drop them down. Again, I'll stay on this screen until they're all the way down. Okay, so they're transferred, so that's 192 SCU of construction material. Bring the elevator back up. I don't mind leaving the screen now because there's nothing to lose. And we get this bad boy. Stick it in there. Drop it down. Next up then is we'll run out of the hangar, go up the elevators and go to the admin office, to the commodity terminals. We'll get it sold and then we'll compare the difference in our bank balance. Let's see exactly how much we made. It's not an excessive amount of money, but it's more than most early game missions pay. Lobby. Okay, so we swing a left, and we swing a left again, and then we swing a left again. That takes us to the internal transit elevators. Galleria. And then the terminals here, when we went to Crew L4, the terminals are upstairs. And now we're at Argo One, the terminals are downstairs, just here. Directly opposite the elevators you come out of. Okay, so we select where we are, we put it in the storage there. 194 SCU, sell it, gives us 1.677. Confirm. That's all gone out of there now. So, if we have a look, let me get my wee calculator out. Oh my god, it's phone does my head in. So 21,674,716. Take away what we started with, which was 21,419,164. Means that on that one run alone, we made 255,552 AUEC. Which, for, what did that take? 10 minutes? 12 minutes? That's not a bad shout. So all I got to do now is travel back to Crew L4, rinse and repeat, and within an hour, just over an hour, you get well over 1 million. I was doing it for 2 hours last night and I earned just over 2 million. And I wasn't rushing, you know, I mean, there was a lot of waiting around for stock to refresh. But that was it. Quick little money-making tip. Nothing special, but it pays the bills. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like and subscribe if you liked it. If you didn't, don't bother. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.